Welcome everyone to the draft. This is episode 25. We will be drafting our teams for the race at Watkins Glen this weekend in what I had called upstate New York, but it is more like central New York. It was actually corrected in the comments of the Eric Estep video I did earlier. So thank you to that guy. It is technically accurate. Um, but Watkins Glen should be a fun one. Uh, which I guess we can just lead right into a quick recap of last week, which was not really a fun one. Personally, I was happy to get out of the weekend up 0.52 units. So I don't know. After what I saw and the second half of the race, running over 40% of it under caution, I was okay with that. Just get us out of there and let's move on to the next one. So we don't need to dwell on it too long. I know, when you see the best car go out there and lap cars and can't get past the 30th or 31st place car, you start to question things. But I don't know. We can move on. It's been talked about on Twitter, on X, whatever you want to call it, all week long. I don't know. So Tino, we'll start with you. How'd you do over the weekend? You can give us a quick breakdown of what you thought of the race, and then we'll move on to Phil.
For sure. Happy to be back. Excited to get this one underway at Watkins Glen as well. Talk about some of that action we got going on. As for Iowa, stage 3 was tough for me, just as a consumer of the race. Let's take everything away. It was just tough to lock into that last stage because there was caution after caution after caution. 7, I think, in stage 3. And we talked about that already. You alluded to it. Aside from that, I think from a betting standpoint, I had Ryan Blaney as my main guy. He was just looked like a few laps away from catching Willie B, so that was a little tough. But in terms of like some prop plays I had, Bubba Wallace talked about him for a top 10 on here, I believe. Carson Hocevar as well was up there. So I was happy to see those drivers sort of make it into spots where they deserve to be. Chase Briscoe for a top 5 I had, but William Byron to be the winner, I didn't. So some people let me know that on Twitter, and that was cool. Have a little discourse back between them. But it sort of is what it was in terms of a fuel mileage race at a short track, in which was tough to sort of stomach because I wanted to see the racing play out and see who was the fast car on the long runs, because that I feel like is what makes short track racing great or stand above some other racetracks we have, and we weren't able to see that. But all in all, looking forward to Watkins Glen this weekend for sure.
Yeah, uh, that's everything you said. I completely agree with. Phil, how'd you do? What'd you think of the race last weekend? Oh,
Pretty
you
much.
had Byron.
Yeah, I did.
There you go.
So that the betting card was definitely helped out by that. I had Byron 11-1 midweek. Didn't think it would go that way. So I, I'm pleasantly surprised with the way it turned out. Like I thought he was going to be like strong. I didn't expect him to kind of be playing this like weird fuel mileage game. Fuel mileage races on short tracks, it ain't it. Running, conserving fuel on a short track and not being able to get passed by anybody, also not it. So like Tino said, I kind of separated the two, right? As a fan of the sport and as a gambler. And as a gambler, I was pretty happy. Got lucky, I guess. Byron, the way that played out. I had Bubba plus 120 to beat Kyle Busch, and he came back from 2 laps down to get that done, finishing inside the top 10. So yeah, I mean things worked out in that sense, but just as frustrated with I think most of everyone with the way this car is running and way things are playing out. So, but leaving pretty happy with the betting card, so I'll take it.
Yeah. I saw a couple of people post that they followed your Byron tip last week, so that's cool that they got on the board with a nice 11 to
Yeah.
1 Byron hit. We gave out, Tino mentioned, and you mentioned the Bubba top 10. We talked about Priest top 10. That was like plus 250. So overall, I think, like me, I didn't have Byron, but still didn't lose money. So it
Mm-hmm.
just kind of is what it is, and we move on to the next. I was on Larson and Bell, so there was no way I was winning the race anyways. So I thought in the first run, the first long, long run, Bell was coming up through the field once they were in the later part of those laps and before everyone pitted, not like looking at the leaderboard and knowing he's moving up because people are on their pit cycle. He was picking people off. up to like 9th or 10th, I believe. And yeah, it just unfortunately we didn't get to see how that played out. But the other funny thing I thought too were just like the people who were bringing out the cautions. One guy who brought out 2 cautions himself. We're going to talk about a lot today. Cody Ware. I mean, it was just like, what are we doing out here, boys? So, all right, let's move on. Let's get to Watkins Glen, a road race. We got one heavy favorite, but we're going to kick it to Phil, and Phil's going to give us a little race. Oh, hold on one second. I'm sorry. Because Tino, diabolical Tino.
Yeah.
I mean, just with the most brutal, evil move, taking
Come
Joey
on.
Logano in the wild card and eking it out by 5 points, which has been your MO all year when you get that last pick in the final round.
Mm-hmm.
So had to give you your shout out here. If you want to say a little something about this draft, you've earned it.
Oh,
So
I do. And I
floor is
appreciate
yours.
that. Earned it all year long, being in the wild card spot. And let's put our man up there, Joe Tino with the logs. And the logs come through for the draft victory. I knew I needed to do something to beat Phil. And once again, tip of the cap to Phil because he had a great race, as did Brad Keselowski. I think really if Ryan Preece doesn't finish inside the top 5 like he did or wherever he was at the end of that race, I probably don't get those extra 5 points there to beat him. So I'm really hype about this. Great win for me and this organization of the Tino Patino Draft Motorsports here. It's been a long time coming. It's been genuinely like 2 months since I've last won. So now to potentially go to Watkins Glen this weekend, which I will be there in person to potentially get a draft victory to reclaim my lead is something that I'm looking forward to. And yeah, I can't wait to see how our draft board shake out. Once again, tip of the hat to Phil. Ryan, your guys need to pick it up a little bit here. I mean, what's
haven't
Phil
won.
doing for you?
You said you haven't won in 2 months, man. I don't remember the last time I won. I honestly don't. I have no clue. It might be 3 months. So
Yeah. So
yikes.
this one was a surprise as well. I really thought Phil had it, but I'm glad to have taken it away. Wild card pick and all, Logs. And yeah, so I think there's great momentum heading into Watkins Glen for sure.
All right. Well, congrats again. You'll have to you got to text me, let me know when the race is going to donate to this week.
Yes,
So
yes.
start thinking about that. Phil, let's kick it to you. A race preview for Watkins Glen. Tell us what to expect.
Sure thing. 5th road course of the year. So we have, some data to pull from there, but this is one of the OGs, that in Sonoma. So we're going to white wine country this time around. I saw Sean was drinking some red wine. Might want to get in the mood, take in a nice Riesling or something. I thought it was interesting to look up the Jeff Gluck poll just to see how the next gen car has done at this track because of what we just saw and we're disappointed. And it really makes you not have any idea what's going on because in 2022, it was the second highest rated track on the schedule in the poll. 23 was second to worst. And last year was just like, okay. So we really have no idea what we're getting as far as like a good race is concerned, but 2-day show. We've got practice and qualifying around noon Eastern time on Saturday, the race a little after 2:00 on Sunday. Stages are 20 laps, stage 1, 20 laps, stage 2, and 50 laps, stage 3, which I'm a fan of. Switch up the stage lengths there. Stage 3, more than double the size of the other two. 2.45 mile road course. I believe it's 8 turns if they're running the layout that I was looking at correctly. Last year, this race was in the playoffs. Now it's not. It's back to where it should be, not in the playoffs. So I'm happy about that. Some track stats we typically get into. 41 times the Cup Series has been here. 9 times the winner has started on the pole. Last time it happened was Chase Elliott when he absolutely just ripped everyone apart in 2019. But starting inside the top 5, 65% of the time, and then top 10, the winner started there 73% of the time. That's a difference of only 3 races. So 27 for 41, winner has started inside the top 5. Only 30 for 41 inside the top 10. So what's that tell you? It's really a huge difference between starting inside the top 5 and starting in that 6 to 10 spot. It's a huge difference as far as winning the race. And manufacturer trends, I mean, Chevy, they went on a 5-race win streak here, was snapped by Ford last year by Buescher. So just something to keep in mind. But yeah, I mean, the data set's not much. 3 races in the next gen car at Watkins Glen. We've got 4 this year, which has been completely, whitewashed by SVG, as we'll probably talk about. And seems like everybody's kind of playing for second place. He finished second last year. We'll see what he can do. But that's the breakdown of what we got going on.
Awesome. Yeah, so in the 3 Gen 7 races here, just going back to your qualifying thing, the first 2 races here were won by a driver who started on the front row. And then the guy who was gonna win before ran down by Buescher, who started back in the 20s, started third. So yeah, that's where you want to be. You want to show up fast here. And I mean, it just goes to show you how crazy of a run that run by Buescher was last year. I mean, dude started what 24th or something like that, ran up and ran him down. So pretty cool to see. I wonder what we'll get this year. You looked at do you have the poll results in front of you still by any chance? Was last year's a good score because of the Buescher thing at the end?
It was like a little bit more than like halfway up the board. So
Nice.
yeah, it wasn't fantastic. Like it wasn't, something to write home about, but it was, probably high 50s, 60s, if I remember correctly, which put it, above the halfway mark of the poll.
Nice.
So yeah, I mean, it was more yeses than nos.
Good. Yeah, different than last week. Um, I had thought that the road racing this year has been okay. I mean, even when like if SVG's out ahead 10 seconds, whatever, that kind of is what it is. But I thought like as far as racing in the pack, I feel like we've seen a little bit more passing than usual. It's been okay.
I'd say this, if this is the first time you're tuning in, like, we talk about the draft, obviously, but gambling, like this is the type of race that makes gambling on NASCAR fun. Like you can kind of chalk SVG in, but there's other ways to make money on this race and to make this race fun to watch. So, yeah, it's a good opportunity to have some fun.
Yeah, and we're using the same tires that they've used on all the roads this year. So no changes, no surprises, no nothing. All the data we have and speed that these guys are showing up with in this road course package hopefully is sticky. And we found some things here. So all right. If you're new to the draft, we're going to head right into it. Here's a quick aerial shot of Watkins Glen there, so you can check that out. Pretty cool track. Only being like 4 hours from here, I've never been there. I really want to go. It's weird, like because the only people I can get to go to races actually want to make like a big trip out of it, so they'd rather just fly somewhere and go to a race. So like, no one wants to hop in the car with me and ride 4 hours to Watkins Glen, but I'll just have to. I'll have to do it. I have to trick somebody. Um, all right. We're going to draft one driver from every team you see on the left here, from 2311 down through the wild card. Best of the rest is one driver from any team not listed there, and a wild card can be any driver from any team you see on there. And then the big 3 will be one additional pick of a Hendrick, Joe Gibbs, or Penske driver. We'll use NASCAR points, just standard NASCAR point system to score it. The winner will pick a charity that win the race will donate to. So it's all for a good cause. There are no wrong answers here. We'll give out any bets we might have as we get through each team, and we'll kick it off. So, Tino, I'm going to let you lead this off here. Let me pull up the draft board. And 2311, who was your pick for the 2025 Watkins Glen race?
Oh boy. All right, we're getting right into it here. This is a situation where I feel like Bubba Wallace will continue his positive momentum and get a higher finishing result than Tyler Reddick, but I'm going to go with Tyler Reddick in this one. Maybe this is just my Reddick road course thinking because he has been so strong at road courses in the beginning of the next gen era, but as we know, since then, hasn't really been the same guy. And this season hasn't really been the same team. Now, maybe that's what they want me to think and show up in my face at Watkins Glen and just pull out a victory where we've seen exciting races before and exciting, finishes and drivers get what they need to at a pivotal point in the year like this, because he's not necessarily locked in the playoffs by any means. If this race goes the way we think it will, Tyler Reddick will be, because then we'll have, a certain amount of guys points wise that are above the possible winners with 3 races left to go in the regular season. But I got to go with Tyler Reddick in this one.
Yeah, I don't blame you there. I'll just jump in right after you here because I'm going to be Tyler Reddick as well. It's, Bubba has raced here 6 times in his career. He has got one top 15 finish to show for it, no top 10s. Uh, Reddick this season, seventh best true performance score and win the race on road courses, fourth best average finish in those races, top 10s in 3 out of the 4. Bubba with a big fat 0 of top 10. So just give me Reddick. I mean, I think this is a pretty easy one. Did you see Bubba's paint scheme? It's like the bright pink, crazy McDonald's scheme. Kind of intense. Uh, you won't miss him on the track. I'll say that. I should have pulled up a picture of it to show everyone.
Let's see
But
if I can
I
get
got to
it.
go Tyler Reddick here. Phil, what do you got?
Yeah, it's Tyler Reddick, and I'll just add, it's weird because I think we expect Tyler Reddick to be fighting for a win, and in that sense, yeah, he hasn't really performed up to expectations. But if you lower the bar a little bit, he is perfect. He's really, so when I say lowering the bar, he's minus 115 for a top 10 on DraftKings still. And to me, that's disrespectful. I know that fair is not that price on Win the Race. It's impossible this week to find like fair prices on top 10s, but lowering the bar to a top 10, Tyler Reddick is like right there. He's doing the job that you need to do. So just looking this season, a third place at Coda, Mexico City was whatever, international. I'm throwing it out. Started 4th, finished 3rd at Chicago, started 8th, finished 6th at Sonoma. I mean, he's getting the job done. It's just he's not a threat to win the race. So if you lower the bar, lower your expectations for Tyler Reddick, he's going to do you well. And I think a top 10 bet at minus 115, I called it out on my pod. I was very into that. So Reddick, compared to his teammates here, it's not even close.
Awesome. Yeah, totally agree there. There will be no Riley Herbst talk on this show. We'll continue that theme. Front row. Let's jump right to them. Completely different camp here. Some Fords. I'll go first here. This is one where we never really have a lot to say about this gang here, and I was between. I mean, honestly, I was between all three. I couldn't really make up my mind here. I throw Gragson out because of what we say every week. Still, no finish, better than 23rd since June 1st. I mean, that's just insane. It's a summer from hell for this guy. Zane, last week, I don't know if you saw all his complaints, bitching at the team, saying, it's their fault that he wrecked out. Stop telling me how to drive. I do my 4-tire pit stop scores on Win the Race. They were terrible all day in the pits. And I used the driver too. Everyone involved, brutal bad. So I just went with Todd Gilliland here. And it's not like he has a bad history here. 16th and 11th in his last 2. He started 25th or worse in both of those. In 2022, he had a great run going and he wrecked out. So I don't know. What could I possibly say about Zane or Gragson that's like, yeah, get on board and be happy? If one of you do, great. I'm more than willing to hear it out and see where I'm wrong here. But to me, I was just like, I don't really have that many question marks about Gilliland as I do about his teammates. And it is weird too, because when I score it out, Gilliland is actually just below these two, like in my pre-practice and qualifying score. So I don't know. Those are just numbers. I got to use a little bit of my head and brain here and just look at it. And I'm going Gilliland. So I guess it's more of a gut play. But Phil, I'm going to jump to you. What do you got here?
Yeah, I mean, so I'm not taking Zane, but if I were to take Zane, he finished 5th here last year. And maybe that situation would manifest into like a rah-rah situation. I think he's too young for that to result well. So I'm not taking Zane. Like you said, Gregson's completely out the window. It's Gillen by default to me. He's actually going the wrong way this year. Had a good 10th place finish at Coda. And then since then, a couple 22nd places to show for it. But it's next gen at this racetrack, not terrible. His last 2 races, 11th and 16th. And that's kind of what I expect from Todd Gilliland on road courses, like mid-teens like that. It's just this year we haven't seen it except for Coda. So we'll throw Todd back into the mix and see if he can get it done. But yeah, a 15th place finish, even a 22nd place finish which he's done twice in 4 tries, I think wins this team.
Yeah, float around 20th, dude, and just don't wreck. And then I'm happy with this pick for any of these guys. So, Tino, good opportunity to pivot here. If you wanted to pivot out, go Zane or Gregson. Are you going to surprise us or what?
Well, one thing that I wanted to mention, I should have done it for the race preview, but I'm going to get it in right now because I think it's important. Last year's Watkins Glen race being in the playoffs made it a little bit of a crazy one, I would say, because everyone was so focused on stage racing, getting those stage points, getting those playoff points. And we saw the field, SVG and Busher were guys that deserved to be at the top. But we look down at the list and I see the Zane Smith finishing in 5th, but it was really and Hocevar as well was up there. Corey LaJoy, Ryan Priest. Don't get me wrong, guys that could potentially get a top 10, but all of them were getting a top 10 at the same time because of the fact that this race was in the playoffs. Very glad it's not in the playoffs anymore, and I don't think we'll see those same contenders be up front, and it will actually be a Watkins Glen road course race that we deserve to see. Now, with that being said, Sean McBride in the chat saying be different, Tino, and I'm gonna be here. I'm gonna go with the Zane Smith play. I do like him having that maybe some experience racing within the top 10, getting the 5th place result here last year. But what my biggest thing is between him and Todd Gilliland here is I don't think their finishing results will be that much different. If I'm potentially able to pick up 3 or 4 points here, I'm going to do it. If I lose it, fine. But I think this Zane Smith play could set me up for a win in the draft.
Yeah, that's smart for this team. Very smart picking an FRM driver here. Who knows? I mean, this just screams Gregson finally finishing one, doing well. He was one of those ones that had a good finish last year if you look at it, but I think he actually qualified well as well.
Mm-hmm.
He qualified near the top 10, I think finished top 10. But, you mentioned a couple of those drivers. Spire, 3 cars in this race last year finished 3rd, 5th, and 8th. Kind of crazy for Spire. I don't know, have they ever done that? Even with 2 cars, have they ever finished top 10 together? I don't know. That's outside of a super speedway. And even then, I don't even know if they have. So kind of a crazy finish last year, like you said.
Yeah.
Tino, I'm going to stick with you, and we're going to head right into Hendricks.
Perfect. Well, I think I mentioned, so this is all going well for me here because I mentioned last year's Watkins Glen race sort of being an outlier for me when I'm looking at my data for this week, looking at some research, just because the teams really do play it a lot differently when it's a playoff race compared to when it isn't. And one driver that was brought to my attention this past weekend was William Byron. Get the win in Iowa, the monkeys off the back. I was someone that was not on Byron, and that was made clear to me. This weekend, I'm on William Byron. Get me on him for Watkins Glen. I can understand when a sign is being presented to my face, and this is it. 2 weeks in a row, not going to happen. I'll stand by my non-Byron week last week, but this week, I think I got to have him. One here in 2023, that was very dominant, and that was sort of because I saw a little bit of limited passing in that one. He looked to have a strong race here last year, got involved in that wreck when, Keselowski, I think, was, went inside of his car. He was, on his roof or something.
Yeah, Byron was on top of Keselowski. His tire was, in the window.
Yeah, that was wild. But Team 54 saying it as well in the chat, so shout out to him. Byron slumps over, former winner at Watkins Glen, gonna be a problem. Chase and Larson, good picks as well. But yeah, I'm looking forward to it. And while I'm bringing up chats, Brian also saying, actually think we have a large variety of strategies for points this weekend with everyone racing for second anyways. That's a good point. I do understand that. I don't, and honestly, because I was about to say, I'm not sure if SVG has as big of a lead on the field as he has on the other road course races. But if he does, this is a great point by Brian as well. And then Miami Mike in the chat as well saying, can't forget Byron, never, never, never. So Byron for me for sure.
Awesome. I will go right into mine then because I had Byron written down all day as well. This will give Phil a good shot to pivot here afterwards if he wants to, because you and I are already different, Tino, so that's nice. Where Phil and I are not. But if Phil's got Byron, it is what it is. I think this is the qualifying thing that Phil was talking about in the preview. He gets to go out last, and he always qualifies well. And he qualifies well here. When he did dominate and win the race a couple years ago, he qualified. He was one of those drivers I talked about that qualified on the front row. So why not now? I mean, he's very, very strong. In 2025, he's second to only SVG in true average running position on road courses. And the way we do average running position like that, we call it true average running position because the laps are actually running. So it takes out, Chicago Street where they give him a car that doesn't even work and he's out of the race before it even starts. So, that's not really going to count much against him here. But I also have they're awesome on 4 tire stops. So if that does come into play, just an added advantage I think Byron has here and a great strategy team. So if they are trying to go for that win, I do trust their strategies in most races. So give me William Byron here. There's really not anything bad I can say about him, but I do think that, like it was mentioned in the chat, there's some really good picks here. All 4 HMS guys can rip it on a road course. So Phil, who do you got here?
Well, yeah, I'm a little surprised you guys both went Byron. My pick, I saw Kyle asking me to go with Bowman here, but I'm sure you guys, somebody's going to take this person later in one of the other spots. I got to go Chase Elliott if you're going to leave that hanging there for me. I understand that Bowman's good. I'm looking at his numbers right now, but Chase head to head against William Byron this year. He's 3-1 head to head on the road courses for what it's worth. And his numbers, they're just better. Byron's got 3 top 10s. Chase has 3 top 5s, fourth, third at Sonoma last time out, 13th place starting position. Like his starting positions haven't even been that great. 12th at Mexico City, worked his way up to 3rd. 39th starting in Chicago, worked his way up to 16th. So like he doesn't even need a great starting spot. He's going to be qualifying midway. They did say that was group qualifying though, so I don't know if that's the order's really worth looking at. But
I forgot it's a road. So yeah, I got you.
So the fact is, like, Chase Elliott is the guy to me with road courses on the Hendrick camp. And so if Byron goes out and finishes 8th, which he absolutely could do, I'm not going to be surprised if Chase Elliott finishes 3rd or 4th and just gives me, those 4 extra points. So I also think that the floor for Byron is lower than it is for Elliott. I think, there always is a chance for Byron to just miss it, as he did at, I guess it was Chicago. What am I thinking?
His car just didn't work that day.
Yeah, it just didn't work.
Work, literally.
We don't really see that with Chase. We'll see. But Chase is the pick for me for Hendrick, and I'm kind of happy about it. I thought I was going to be piling on, but to be the only one with Chase so far, I'm not upset about it.
It's a tough matchup. Eric gave me that matchup on the show earlier today. Who do you think's going to have a better run here, Byron versus Elliott? And what's interesting about them is they're both second to SVG only, but Byron's is average running position and Elliott's is average finish. So it's like, for whatever reason, and we always say that about Elliott, he just kind of finds a way to not mess up and be there at the end. Until I pick him on here and say these things, and he just kind of is super mid. So it's like that's how he does me every time. Yeah, Elliott was a very strong choice there. We left you a good one. Now let's lead right into Joe Gibbs here, because this I think is another very interesting one. All 4 drivers have some great points you can make about him here. All 4. I'll start this one out. I'll go first here. I'm going with Chase Briscoe. And I don't know if those looks are because that's what you had and thought you might be different or something, but I do the speed reads every week. It's our, incident adjusted speed. We do like an average running position, average finish, all that stuff. Everything we put in there, sims, data, everything. A couple charts spit out in the speed read. And like this one's true performance versus their incident adjusted speed. And look where this guy shows up on top here. Chase Briscoe below only SVG in that chart. Just kind of blew my mind. Wow. And then we look at versus average finish. Again, way up the list, way to the right, which means you're fast and running really well. So it's true performance plus incident adjusted speed. And up near the top. for the finish. And you see SVG way up there in the tippy top because he just destroys everybody.
Oh my gosh,
But
that's crazy.
yeah, you gotta really squint and look way up there to see SVG. But Briscoe shows up great in everything I look at, and so I don't know, man. I think he can surprise a lot of people this weekend. Since the All Star break, it's been 11 races. He's got 5 top 3 finishes, all different track types. 5 pole wins since then, all different track types. And we want to target Chase, like we always say, where the 19 showed up fast.
Yeah.
Dude could show up fast here. I think JGR like 1 and 2 last year in qualifying. So I don't know. Like, why can't this dude do it? All he does is win poles and finish top 3, apparently. So give me Chase Briscoe. I think he's going to have a great run. The beginning of the year, you can kind of throw out Coda. That's when he said that's an early race. He wasn't really feeling it. Now he is. We talk about it every week. Give me Briscoe here, Phil. I'm going to jump right back to you.
Briscoe's who I had written down, man. So I'm disappointed. I thought I might be able to be the only one with him, but yeah, I don't have much more to say, to be quite honest with you. I had a bet on him over Chris Buescher, and it was minus 115 apiece on ESPN Bet. And, it's really because I believe that Briscoe is just that much better. They're 2-2 head-to-head this year on road courses, but, you look at that Chicago race too, which is disappearing in the data when you're looking at it, at least most of the stuff where he finished 23rd. He was top 5 in that race. Like, that was a top 5 finish. So I'm giving an asterisk and calling it 3-1 head-to-head versus Buescher. Buescher, I don't know. It's not the same Chris Buescher on road courses that we've seen in the past. He's human now. And we looked at Sonoma, where he'd been so good for multiple years in a row, and he was just so now we're going to Watkins Glen, a track that he won last year, and I don't expect him to just magically find it, whereas Briscoe has found it. So Briscoe's my pick. I have him head to head. I think he's a solid driver this week for sure. I don't think it would be a shock, honestly, for him to run second again.
Yeah, I got to look for that bet. That was discussed in the Win the Race Discord too, and I'm definitely on the Briscoe side. I know Greg was looking at it early week, and he was kind of leaning Buescher, but that was when Buescher was like plus money. But I sent him all those charts. I was like, I don't know, man. I don't think I would do that, and I don't think he ever bet it. I don't think we bet either. I know I didn't bet either side of it, but I would lean Briscoe for sure in that. So if anyone has access to that, I'd definitely ride with that Briscoe over Buescher bet. Tino, what do you have here?
I want to stick with, before I get into my draft pick, sticking with the Briscoe over Buescher bet, because bringing that back to how I was talking about last year, this Watkins Glen race in the playoffs last year being such an outlier, in my opinion, I think the perfect way I can sort of ride that home is the fact that Buescher was able to win in one of the farthest starting positions we've seen at Watkins. Phil in the race preview mentioned you got to start top 10 to really win this race. And Buescher started, I believe, like 24th and ended up getting the job done. I talked to his crew chief. Like I said, I was there in the media center after the race. I talked to the crew chief. I was like, dude, how were you guys able to do that? Did you expect to be able to get yourselves in position from such a far ways back when we haven't seen that been the case in literally 20 years? And he said a lot of things came down to strategy, how that played out, and especially with the drivers, the main potential contenders, aside from SVG, going for playoff points, that screwed really everything up with the finishing results. So, to your guys' point, I do think in this Buescher-Briscoe matchup, Buescher winning this race last year was capable of what he could do on a road course and showcasing his skills there, but I don't think it really shows the type of car that he had. Moving forward to my pick here with JGR, I do love the love. I love the love for Chase Briscoe. I want to do it myself, but I'm going to be different here again, because what I'm looking at this weekend are drivers that need to win to get in. And one of them, Ty Gibbs, Team 54. You want it? You got it. You want an opportunity to win? This is it.
Real quick, I don't want to interrupt you. I'll let you go right back. But
yeah.
If anyone wanted to go bet it, I just put it in the Win the Race Discord too. I did just take the Briscoe minus 115 over Buescher. But a quick interruption here, Tino, is because to add on to your last point, you're talking about these points racing. Guess who should point race this week? Buescher. So this could hurt
Perfect.
his finishing position against Briscoe, who he should only go out there and try to win the race.
Yes.
So that's another great point to make here. Buscher and Priest are right on the line, teammates battling it out for that last spot if we don't get any new winners. And he could definitely points race here, and that could really, hurt his finish. Everything you just described earlier. So go ahead with the Gibbs pick. I'm glad Team 54 is in here for a Gibbs pick. Let's go.
Yes. No, and I'm glad you brought that up too. So I'm glad we put a bow on that for the people, because that matchup I'm locked in with as well, and I'm glad it really does make sense. Like, don't get me wrong, I'm thinking Buscher for a top 10, and if you put him head to head with SVG on a one lap shootout, he shows what he can do. But I mean, Briscoe to me, is just a better, faster car, and will, like Phil said, will finish second potentially again. That's another thing that Briscoe has done a great job on, not only executing that team's strategies, but locking in to where his car starts. He finishes there, at least within the last 11 races that we talked about with him. So yeah, for Ty Gibbs though, just real quick back to him, I think you need to win this race to make the playoffs, and that's why I like him to do so. In 2023, the race that I am looking at, he finished in 5th. So Bell and also Hamlin, 2nd and 3rd in this race in 2023. I would say this season, Ty Gibbs is a better road course driver than both of those statistically.
Yeah, if you look at the true performance scores on Win the Race, Ty Gibbs is only behind SVG in true performance. So on road courses in 2025. So goes SVG, Gibbs, Bell, Briscoe. So those are your top 4. Just want to mention that because Briscoe we just talked about. So great. I'm glad Team 54 is here to see his boy get picked. Now we head into what I think is another tricky team to figure out here, Penske, because I really don't think there's a wrong answer here. This is like front row, but on steroids. It's like these guys are actually decent here. But like I could make an argument for all 3 and tell you why I thought you should pick them right now. I won't start out this. I started on the last one. So, Tino, why don't you go ahead and lead off Penske here? Your boy's in the chat. It's a good night to pick Logano. What do you got going on here?
Yeah, I think you gave Austin Cindric a lot of love there with the with the reference to front row on steroids. Sean McBride saying there is a wrong pick. I'm going with it. Ryan Blaney, no hesitation. He's the road course guy for me this year out of this group. Joey Logano in 2023. Blaney 9th, Logano 10th. So from that standpoint, if they're anywhere close again this year, I still want to go with what McBride may think is the wrong pick in Ryan Blaney. I picked Logano for you last week, buddy. He ain't really show up. So just want to put that out there as well.
Phil, who do you got here? What shirt is that? It's not a Blaney shirt.
No, this is a Springfield ice hockey shirt.
Nice.
So I'm a bit shocked here because I think Blaney is the wrong pick this week. He is not the road course guy this year. 19th, starting 25th, 18th starting position, 14th place finish in Mexico City, 17th to 12th at Chicago, and then 7th to 36th at Sonoma. What are you seeing there? I see someone who's
No. What are you seeing in the other 2? That's what you need to tell us.
Okay. I'll talk you through that as well. Because what I'm seeing in Joey Logano, which is my pick, is a good combination of someone that has success at this track and starting to kind of put it together a little bit this year. So we'll go with, that as a starting point. Let me see if I have anything written down on Logano here. Let's see. Logano, he has. Sorry, let me just pull it up. This season, I'll start there. Has gotten better pretty much each time out. So 24th to 21st to 11th at Chicago, 9th place at Sonoma. To me, that's a driver who's a veteran who is understanding that they have, started struggling early on, kind of like a weird season for them, and has incrementally improved their starting position, improved their finishing position. And now we're going to an OG racetrack. It's not one of these fucking gimmicks, and they can have the notes from the past, work through that. He's had, 3 top 15 finishes in the next gen car at Watkins Glen, a 3rd place, a 10th place last year. He was 15th. 6 out of everyone an average finish in the next gen car at Watkins Glen. So there's all of that to consider. And then, I just don't understand really. I guess maybe they didn't have the general speed that Blaney has, but they're getting the finish. So I'm going with Logano here because I think they are improving. He's got the track history. I just trust him more. I don't see, and Cindric could be a wild card, right? He could come out of left field and all of a sudden be the road course driver that he was in Xfinity. But if we're just saying Blaney versus Logano, I don't see Blaney. I really don't. And if it's Logano, if Blaney wins this one, I think it's because Logano screws up in some way.
Can I
It's
get
not
a?
Well,
could I get a chance to?
Yeah, rebuttal.
Yeah. Thank you. Okay.
We can tag team it here because my pick was Ryan Blaney.
All right, sick. Phil, okay. So you're right from our certain angles, but Blaney beats Logano, finished 11th, and Logano finished 12th at. I just lost it at. I believe it was Chicago this year. Blaney was running inside the top 5, had a top 3, in my opinion, at Sonoma. Fast car, was catching up to Chase Briscoe, who was locked into second place that whole race. Remember, Briscoe dumps him, and he was fast. And then Blaney gets run off the track, and he's like facing the wrong way, cars upside down almost on the dirt. And then, if you look again, talking about, I already mentioned Sonoma, mentioned Chicago, Mexico, Blaney beats Joey 14th to 22nd. So, I mean, we're talking. Yeah.
Hold on. I know it's Ryan's pick, and he's taking Blaney, but let me,
Yeah.
I'm enjoying this. You guys have at it.
Whatever this is called as far as a courtroom goes, a recross examination. Would you rather have? So they're 2-2 head to head against each other on road courses this year.
Yeah.
Would you rather have the guy who won the first 2 of the year or the most recent 2? Because
but I
like the guy.
You can't say that when the most recent one, Blaney, was light years faster than him.
I mean, it's all about finishing. Like if that were to happen in 9th to, that's what Logano does. Like he is able to. He's like a lower tier Chase Elliott at this point right now in the season.
To be objective for Phil here, stepping in from that standpoint, if Joey Logano is getting the finishes, that's what this game is. Like we can't really say. So like Ryan, so we're both right in terms of Blaney's speed being better. Yes. But if he's not getting the finishes and Joey Logano is sneaking them in, then that's from that standpoint.
Yeah, but that's not true. Like Blaney finished top 15 at Chicago, top 15 at Mexico City, 19th at Coda or whatever. I mean, those are good finishes. And then at a top 5 car the last time out. So no finish worse than 19th when we're trying to earn points on a team where there's no road course guy on it. That's not bad. And he had the best car last time out.
Well, but at the end of the day, what is being fast at Sonoma get for him? Nothing. He finished 36th. That's a 25 spot difference. That wins the.
But if that was the case, we would never pick Hocevar, and we do. So it's like at some point you got to trust the speed.
Well, I think it's a horse for a course situation. I don't trust Blaney to be able to go out and finish in the top 10, where I see Joey Logano has done that at this track. I mean, Blaney, what he had, look at his next gen stats, 24th, 9th, and 38th last year. Last year was a disaster for him, if I remember correctly at Watkins.
Yeah, it was like very early exit.
Him and AJ. But, it's just Logano being the veteran. I think he has a win here. It just, I don't know. Like, I'm not saying that he's a road course guy, but I will never say that Ryan Blaney is a road course guy. Like you guys,
I'm saying that.
That's crazy to me.
Yeah, but that's what I'm saying. None of them are road course guys. And Blaney, with the exception of getting ran off the track while running third, has no finish worse than 19th this year. It's like, it's not like he's dog shit. He's doing okay. I mean, that's all we're looking for.
To me, wait. I got a good one. I got a good one. Blaney, to me, this year has cemented himself being a top 10 road course guy.
He doesn't have a top 10. He does not have a top 10 this year. He
I
has
mean,
0 top 10s.
11.
He doesn't. He finished 12th. 12.
But that's my like that. Like
14th,
what do you
19th.
consider a road course guy? Because how many top 10s did Joey Logano have this year?
1. He finished
So, like-
9th at Sonoma last time out.
I
don't know. I mean,
what an argument. I think for the show's sake, we just got to move on here.
Yeah, no, you're right.
We'll
This
text
is
each
fun.
other after the show. I think this is a good opportunity for us to have a little side bet.
If this is gonna dominate our group chat, I need Sean McBride added to the group chat, so I'm not getting just double teamed on Sunday.
That's fine.
That's fair. Yeah, we'll put him in there.
All right, so here's where I might blow your mind then, Phil, because you don't agree with my Blaney pick, and then you're like, well, you're probably going to pick this guy later. And I don't have the energy like Tino where I'm just like, oh, I'm taking Christopher Bell. But that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to take Christopher Bell here, not Chase Elliott. But the same type of consistency factor to him, in my opinion. He wins COTA. 3 months later, we go out, finishes second at Mexico City. Chicago Street, bad one. Not many cars had a chance there, though, with Hocevar just blockading the field to start that race.
Yeah.
Got to Sonoma, another clean one, finishes top 5 again. So 3 top 5s in the 4 road courses that he actually had a shot at. He's behind only SVG and Byron in the true average running position in these 4 races. And his team has proven they can show up fast at Watkins Glen and qualify well. JGR, we talked about it earlier. Why not Bell? He goes out. Oh, well, never mind. Qualifying order doesn't matter, but still, JGR qualifies well here, shows up fast. What I like about Bell, too, is even on the roads where he qualifies in the teens or something like that, he always finds a way to work his way through the field, too. He's a guy who can pass. So with everything being equal, same tires that we've seen on all these roads this year, I don't see why Bell would just show up and not be strong again when he top 5s every time he has a chance. So give me Christopher Bell here. That'll be my pick for the big 3. Phil, we're going to jump right back to you.
Yeah, Christopher Bell's my pick also.
Oh, nice.
I'm very much into Bell. I think, for all those reasons that you just laid out, and the 3 of us talked about my strategy that I threw out on my podcast this week for outrights, which has to do with some manufacturer picks. If you're betting Toyota plus 450, I think Christopher Bell is your biggest horse. Like he has been the most consistent Toyota driver this year on road courses. It's not even close. And 3 top 5s, including a win and a second place, like coming all the way back from 31st to get that second place finish, real deal. Not fluky. I trust their team. He's had experience at this racetrack, a couple top 10s with a top 5 at this racetrack. So yeah, Christopher Bell, very much a threat every time he goes to a road course. But again, lowering the bar a little bit, not expecting him to win the race, but a top 5, very possible for Christopher Bell. He's done 3 damn times. So yeah, I think big 3. I know that there are cases to be made for all these other guys, but Christopher Bell, I feel like is a must take for me in this spot.
Awesome. That makes me feel good that we're in sync there. After the disastrous argument we just had. But
Hey, that's what gets the views. Look at the people were loving it. Big Ross wanted us to keep going, and then they also want the text from our group chat to be posted, which Sean McBride said if they are posted, he will go to jail. So wouldn't be his first time. But
that's awesome. Tino, who do you got here for your big 3 pick?
So this one was interesting for me because I had written down Chase Elliott. I had written down Christopher Bell. In this situation I'm in, I could potentially use. So in my draft mindset, do I go with Chase Elliott, sort of take that away from Phil, or do I go with Christopher Bell, block it out from all 3 of us? I'm going to go with Bell here. I do like him over Elliott, but if there was any differing picks, maybe I would have went in the Elliott direction. But the biggest thing, and I've mentioned it before, but I'm going to keep alluding to it, that 2023 Watkins Glen race is what I'm looking at, and he ran inside the top 5 all day, finished 3rd.
Nice. Yeah, I love it. Bell, I think, is very strong. There were some good top 5 numbers out there. I mean, they were tempting. I'll have to go check that out after the show. Let's jump right into RFK. So this one was a weird one for me. I'll start this one out. really, to me, there was only two guys I was going to pick because I'm not really interested in Brad K here. But I could see the side of Brad K from one of you in the simple fact that that dude needs a win, and his other dudes are racing points against each other potentially.
Mhm.
If they're not up there racing for a win to get in. Busher's right above the cut line. Priest right below the cut line. Those are the two guys I want to pick from. So I just went with Chris Busher. I just think I couldn't go Brad even with that. I just think these guys are much better, and even if they points race, I still think they can beat Brad here. So I'm just not going to overthink it. Priest has some stats that pop off the page on roads in 2025, but Busher just top tens every time we come here, including his win last year. Whatever that was, but all those runs have come with RFK as well, so it's not like anything's really changing. He has the seventh best average finish on road courses in 2025. Very sneaky again, because I have him like 15th in true performance, and there he is, seventh best average finish on these. So just a dude who has like that little bit of Chase Elliott in him, I think, where he can get the most out of a day, whether it's strategy or just late runs. He's good on those long runs. So give me Chase or Chris Busher here. Tino, I'm going to jump back to you.
Yep, Busher for me as well here. Don't want to get, I was in the same mindset with you where it's Priest or Busher. I like Busher more in terms of consistent road course speed, but it's kind of like back to our, I guess not exactly with the Logano Blaney standpoint, but Priest, I just wanted to say, has been fast on road courses this year as well. And then got a shout out to chat. Keith, who's joining us tonight, said he enjoys watching. His opinion, having all the multi-teams will be fun to watch on this list, including Legacy and Trackhouse. Keith, thanks for joining us tonight. We did have Trackhouse included at one point earlier this year. Became a Ross Chastain fest every week. So that's why we limited it to the best of the rest. But appreciate you joining in. Stay tuned. Maybe he will get picked, or some Trackhouse drivers will get picked later on in the show.
Yeah, or if we have a new Trackhouse driver next year, 2026, the draft, it could re-enter the draft board here.
I like
So we'll
that.
see what happens there. Phil, RFK, who you got?
Yeah, as much as I'd like to start another debate, I can't. I just can't pull the trigger on Priest because I feel like he could be just a huge hole in my ship if it doesn't go my way. Chris Busher passes the ocular pat down, right? If he were to finish top 10, no one's going to blink. But if Ryan Priest does it, even though Priest has been generally faster this year on road courses, if he were to finish top 10, I think we'd get a lot of buzz. You know what I mean? So I don't want to have to hope for the longer shot there. But that's not to say that we're against Priest. I think we all kind of respect what he's done so far on road courses. And I think if you see him in a head-to-head matchup against kind of a ripe opponent, that could be a good opportunity to make some money. But for here, I don't want to threaten my draft here with a longer shot potential, high risk, high reward kind of deal. So I'm going Busher.
Perfect. Same thought process here. All right, now we're going to head into Spire and best of the rest. I think these next two are going to be extremely chalky picks here for all of us. Phil, I'm going to stick with you and just let you lead it off with Spire here. And if you mention the guy I think you're mentioning, I'm going to fill it in for myself. And if Tino just gives me a nod, I'll go ahead and fill it in for him too. But who do you got here for Spire?
Yeah, Spire is. I just watched Happy Gilmore 2. Eminem made an appearance. So Eminem, NASCAR's version, Michael McDowell is my pick. And just because he's, to me, the obvious road course guy, even switching over from Ford, where he's had good success, 2 top 10s and 3 next-gen starts at Watkins Glen. Michael McDowell hasn't been amazing this year, but 3 of 4 finishing inside the top 11, including 2 top 5s. That's damn good. So I'm kind of discrediting the top 5 from Hocevar last year, and we're just going with the consistent guy, Michael McDowell.
He did have a car that blew by SVG earlier this year until that car had trouble. So that car was fast. And people can say, SVG is just kind of toying with him or whatever, but that car was fast, man. And he's good here. But I don't know. I mean, he's got the 6th best true performance scores and win the race on the road courses this year. Spire, as I mentioned, and again, a wacky race, but they still finished 3rd, 5th, and 8th. And McDowell's better by a lot than all of them at road courses. He's running double duty this weekend. Always love a double duty guy. So
Oh
we even
yeah,
got
yeah.
we got
That's
a
a good point.
triple duty guy we might talk about later.
Yeah.
We got a lot of double duty, a lot of triple duty.
Butcher is in the mix, right, for a duty. Bell as well.
Butcher double duty. Christopher Bell double duty. So we
Right.
got back to back to back double duty sweeps here on the draft board. That's kind of cool.
The duty boys are locked.
I bet McDowell 20-1 on MGM when it opened. This is a guy who needs to win to get into the playoffs. There is no point racing from McDowell at all. He has to have this one marked down as a track he's good at and in a style of race where he might be able to pull it off. So perhaps McDowell could be this year's Busher battling one of those favorites at the end. Looks like we lost Phil. Hopefully it comes right back on. But yeah, give me McDowell here. And then Tino, I'll let you lead off best of the rest because I think we might have another clean sweep here.
Yep. Before I do so, let's get some guesses in the chat. Guys, in the chat, give me your best or worst guess for who we're going to be going with. Best of the rest. You know, that includes Trackhouse, some of the drivers on that team. I want to see what some people are thinking here. I
think they know who one driver is going to be. So maybe guess who the next 2 picks will be.
Yeah,
you know who one's going to be of the next 2 picks. So however you want to word it, who's a weird best of the rest or a weird wild card?
Yeah.
What could surprise us?
So I also got to bring up some of the guys in the chat here. Big Ross was one of them that I thought was a good one. As a Hostvar hater, he wants to point out that Hostvar has the worst average finish on his team. So I think that's with him wrecking. And honestly, I saw the Hostvar speed at some of the road courses. It did intrigue me a little bit. I'm not going to lie. But when McDowell, and this is what Brian said as well, McDowell being the biggest threat to SVG this weekend is something I'm looking at. And if we mention his name, you got to put him down for me. It is Shane Van Gisbergen. Probably will win this race. But Brian had my favorite best of the rest guess, and that was the leg. Catherine Legg, who has been destroying the competition lately. But Sam Hull had a good one as well with the Stenhouse, who just absolutely let us down last weekend for the top 10. But got to go with SVG here.
Phil, any surprises or SVG rounded out?
No, it's SVG. My entire system just crashed. So I don't know what kind of omen that is for my draft this week, but Joe Logano is going to hit the wall first fucking lap.
There was speculation that we kicked you out for picking Logano.
Oh, nice, Sam.
Okay.
Perfect.
Yeah, SVG for me. That'd be silly to go against him.
All right, cool. We're going to keep it Tino, Phil, then myself, as I came in dead last again, and I'll pick last year for the wild card. I do think that there's quite a few ways to go here, so I'm very interested to see what you guys do and come up with. Tino, lead it off.
Man, so this is the tough part about going first for the wild card because I have a lot of options, and going with one could set the tone for you other guys here and in terms of who you pick. To me, there's some drivers I've thought about, but the one that keeps coming back to me for some reason, it's a guy that I talked to last year at the Glen, and that's Connor Zilic. I think Connor Zilic, as my wild card pick, could potentially win me the draft this weekend while I'm there in person, reclaiming my lead that I had for 20 races this year. And I'm going to be there in person to see it, be in person to shake his hand as I did last year and say, Connor, future Hall of Famer, thank you for powering me over Phil and Ryan this weekend in the draft. Maybe he can't do it. Maybe the rookie. Maybe that's what they were saying about Ohio State versus the Minnesota Golden Gophers. If you know, you know. So I think an upset could be had this weekend over Connor Zilic. And I think that speed that SVG brings to the track, I'm not looking for him to win. I'm not looking for Connor Zilic to win, but I am like, this is the track where he could actually have a chance to do so. Let's see how he does.
Yeah. I took 3 guys so far this week. I took heavier on Shane Van Gisbergen at 150 and 190. And then I took Zilic at 14 and McDowell at 20. And those would be my 3 plays before practice and qualifying. And then doesn't leave you much room to really pivot, but hopefully they show up fast. That's all I can say
And he's
about
a
that.
duty guy, a triple duty guy.
Triple duty guy. And I mean, at Coda, it took him a little while to get going, but he started carving through the field. So, but then it went wrong, which it can do for inexperienced Cup drivers. So we'll see what happens. Phil, who do you have here for your wild card?
Well, I lost all my stats when my whole system shut down, so I'm not going to be as knowledgeable sounding. But I got a default. I got 2 guys. Zilch was one of the guys. As soon as Tino picked him, I knocked him off because I want to be different here. There's just too many guys that you could have fun with here. So I'm really between 2, and I'm gonna kind of practice what I preach here when I was talking about the Busher versus Priest thing. I could go a little bit more of a longer shot, but I'm not. I'm going to go with a guy that I've talked about waiting until now. It's AJ Allmendinger season. Watkins Glen and the Roval. Watkins Glen and the Roval are when AJ steps up. It's a very strange cycle where he finishes the season strong. His odds are completely shortened to start the year. He sucks, and then the sports books forget about him. And now this is where he comes back alive. His Watkins Glen next gen stats, they definitely jump off the page. Second, fourth, last year 36, but like we talked about with Blaney, his race was over before it got started. We didn't get really a chance to see what he had, and that was unfortunate. This year on the road course is exactly what we just said. Like the cycle is working out exactly the same way. It's had starting to come alive as far as qualifying goes. So his starting positions are getting better, and that's good. That's AJ Allmendinger coming out of his hibernation on these road courses. So he started 5th at Sonoma, and obviously didn't get the finish that we wanted there, but a 6th place finish at Chicago after starting 8th. That's perfect. That's what we're looking for, this kind of deal at Watkins Glen. So he has shown speed, and this is a track where he's been solid in his career. So I think that I got to kind of put my money where my mouth is. He's minus 115 for a top 10. I mentioned how the books are kind of looking the other way on him now. Opportunity to kind of jump on him while no one's looking, to be quite honest with you. So anxious to see where Ryan goes, because I do want to bring up the other guy I was thinking if he doesn't bring him up.
Well, we got some chat. Before you go, Sam Hole in the chat saying there's still a chance to pick Logano.
Yes, go ahead.
Man, that would be great.
Join me.
Going back to your qualifying stuff from the preview, AJ's qualified in the top 10 here 11 straight times. So, I mean,
he knows the track, man. It's his AJ. Hit this in the Roval. In the Roval.
Yeah. All different teams, too. So it really doesn't matter like what era car you're in or what team he's with. He just shows up here, qualifies top 10, does his thing. So, well, I had one guy written down all day, and I look at the board here, and it really just I could pick either one. I have two guys in my mind right now, and I could pick either one. It saddens me because Tino, he got all fired up for his pick, and he's like, I can regain my lead. And it's like, well, if I do this, like, I'll really stick it to you, and if I win, I'm still in last. So it's like, it's just a little disappointing. I think what I'll do here is play it safe. I think I'm going to play it safe. And I'm going to go with Chase Elliott.
Okay.
Got to go back to it. Phil said we might pick it later. The other guy I was considering is Connor Zilic, but when I talk and say these things out loud, like, oh, Byron, second best average running position on these roads, but Chase Elliott, second best average finish on these road courses. So it's like, okay, well then, why wouldn't you take the guy who's got the second best average finish on these road courses this year, who we know is a good road course racer, who's won here in the past, and I think this might, could play a factor in it. Maybe, maybe not. But I also mentioned how fast like the Hendricks pit crews are and things like that. So Elliott, experience getting in and out of the pits, what could happen with Zilich? Zilich, I don't know. Does he get a speeding penalty? Does his pit crew just lose seconds that are so valuable in these races compared to what Chase Elliott's crew can do? So I don't know. And I also think it's good leverage on Phil. Trying to
Yeah.
catch you guys, gotta do it. So give me Chase Elliott here. I think this was a really fun draft. We got a lot of cool pivots. We had a great Penske conversation, and we'll see what happens. We're going to
And
side bet it. We're going to post it next week. Go ahead.
no Kyle Larson, as Robert says, an entire draft without Kyle Larson. Totally fair, but
Yeah.
totally amazing due to only a few months ago when he seemed like the guy to have at least at one portion in the big three, in the Hendrick, in the wild card. No Kyle Larson. I'm pretty surprised by this as well. I don't know what you guys
Yeah.
are thinking in terms of Larson this weekend.
There's big names missing when we get to some of these places. I mean, you could have made a case for Denny Hamlin here. That's another
Yep.
huge name that's off the board, but someone who's not bad at Watkins Glen, as recently as 2 years ago. So
Kyle Busch is the other one that I was going to take.
Oh yeah.
He's got
Yep.
3 top 10s this year, guys, on road courses, and the only
Yeah.
one that he didn't was that bullshit Mexico City race.
Mhm.
So I say bullshit because of what happened to him. Like, he just went straight during a turn, but not to discredit the track, but Kyle Busch, very frisky for a top 10, plus 145 on FanDuel. I was thinking about taking him as my wild card, but like I said, I kind of had to stick with more of the guy I trust more. But Busch definitely overlooked because of his next gen stats at Watkins Glen, I think.
What's interesting here too is like another bigger name, but like not bigger than Kyle Busch, but Ross Chastain, a big name. We mentioned him. He pulled it, finished fourth. But I think that's interesting too. Like, just shows you what Trackhouse can do here. So now you got SVG, you got Zilich. Like, if Ross Chastain can go out there and win the pole and finish fourth, why can't Connor Zilich do it? I don't know. Like, they'd have to give him a total shit car. So hopefully that doesn't happen. But how cool are all three of these, the trucks, Xfinity, and Cup fields? I mean, you got Cup guys everywhere. It should be awesome battles all weekend long. I do wish Friday night's race wasn't during dinner time. That's kind of a killer. Gonna have to tape that and watch it at night. But uh, is what it is. It's still gonna be a fun one to watch. So hopefully you have a fun weekend of racing. Thank you everyone for tuning in. Thank you everyone in the chat for just commenting all night long. It's so cool every week to just come in here and see hundreds of comments in here and you guys, playing along with us. So it makes it a lot of fun. If we do a side bet, we'll screenshot it. We'll post it in here next week. Tell you who won the Blaney versus Logano. And then in a couple weeks, how about when the regular season ends, we'll do an update on our season-long standings and post that as well. And then we'll know, Tino's only got one more road course at that point left for SVG. So we should be in decent shape to make a comeback, Phil. But all right, Tino, thank you, everybody. Wintherace.info, where you can check out all these cool stats and charts and everything else that we post throughout the show. Tino, to everyone where they can find your good work.
Yes, sir. Appreciate everyone in the chat as well. I'm going to give a shout out to them before I talk about myself. Big Ross, Brian, Kyle, Team 54, looking for some Ty Gibbs this weekend. Robert in the chat. Miami Mike was there. Keith joining us. Appreciate you, Keith. Everyone that was in here following along. As Ryan said, it's awesome having you guys. I appreciate all the dialogue in the chat and everything like that. S. Cole was here. David was here. And everyone else that was joining us for tonight. A couple more guys at the top. Zach, race fan as well. And just great having everyone in the chat. You can continue to follow along with the content we produce here at the show and myself at Tino, PATTIGNO, across all social media platforms. I will be live on SiriusXM NASCAR Radio Friday mornings for my best bet segment. To be Tino, if you know me there, you can see me on 2B TV or hear me on the radio side of things from them. Also be on Sunday morning with Nuke the House once again, so that'll be great live at the track. Davey and I keg as well. We'll be there talking about Watkins Glen, everything you got to know for that. And stay tuned for on the track content because I'll be there. If anyone else will be at the race, I'll be wearing the gold jacket. Come see me, come say hi, come shake my hand, come touch my mullet if you want. Anything you want to do, I'll be there making some fun content and being at the track as well. And then last couple of comments, I got a shout out from my guy, Sean McBride said, can't wait to go to New Hampshire Motor Speedway with Tino and Sam saying such a good trip. We go every year. It's a great tradition. I'm not going with them this year. I'm just not going to be there. So, yeah, appreciate all you guys for tuning in from my side.
Sweet. Next week, you guys will be up here for Richmond. That'll be a lot of fun too. Phil, where can everyone find your good work? Got trucks back this week.
We do. Yeah, Full Tank with Phil is the podcast out today. Talked a lot about some of the bets we discussed, strategy for the outrights, worth listening to. I have a Ty Gibbs bet in there for Team 54 also, didn't talk about. And yeah, trucks. I mean, is this like the worst possible race to break my hiatus for the truck content? It's going to be damn near impossible to handicap this race because like the comps are all over the place. There's nothing really
It's
no
tough.
continuity. But yeah, who do we like? I'll tell you this. Look, usually my truck research starts as soon as this show ends. I see we get Corey Heim at 3-1 on a road course this season. You got to take it. Connor Zilic being minus money, I understand it, but you know, one mistake like we saw at Coda and a couple years ago or last year rather, and it opens the door for these other guys. So I think the opportunity there is for some of these other drivers in the truck series. It's going to be a hell of a race. Can't wait for it. I'm going to dig in and see what other kind of bets we can get. So thanks to all you guys. This was a really fun conversation, and yeah, good luck this week, and hopefully we all win some money.
Awesome. Thank you guys again. Good luck this weekend. We'll catch you next week, Wednesday night, 8:30 p.m. Eastern for another episode of The Draft. Good luck this weekend.